Scientists have just conducted a study on the Shroud of Turin. For those of you who don't know what the Shroud of Turin is, the Shroud of Turin is the purported burial cloth of our Lord, of Jesus.
The journey of humanity's quest for understanding the divine has always been intertwined with the pursuit of tangible evidence. Among the most profound artifacts in this search is the Shroud of Turin, a linen cloth that has captivated the minds of believers, historians, and scientists alike. For centuries, this relic has been shrouded in mystery, sparking debates about its authenticity and the implications it holds for the Christian faith. Recently, groundbreaking discoveries and advanced scientific techniques have reignited discussions surrounding the shroud, suggesting that we may be closer than ever to unveiling the truth behind this enigmatic piece of cloth. As we dive deeper into the details of the shroud, we'll uncover how modern technology has breathed new life into this ancient relic, offering insights that could potentially redefine our understanding of Jesus Christ's life and death. What does this mean for faith, for science, and for the countless individuals who look to this artifact as a symbol of hope? The implications of these revelations are staggering as they challenge our perceptions of historical events and their significance in contemporary society. Join us on this captivating journey as we explore the recent findings surrounding the Shroud of Turin and consider the possibility that we may be witnessing one of the greatest miracles of all time. Background and historical importance of the shroud. Understanding the significance of the Shroud of Turin requires investigating its background. For many, the shroud represents a direct line to Jesus Christ, since it was supposedly used to cover his body after he died on the cross. It was in the 14th century, when it was initially on exhibit in the French town of Lirey, that the shroud first came to the attention of the general public, according to historical documents. Geoffrey de Charny, a knight, claimed ownership of the item and said it was the linens used to wrap Jesus in his burial. Some people thought the shroud was a medieval counterfeit, therefore its authenticity was a point of contention when it first gained prominence. The shroud has weathered many storms, including fires, restorations, and intense inspection. In spite of everything that has happened, it is still a significant religious icon that draws both pilgrims and researchers. It was safely stored at Turin, Italy's Cathedral of St. John the Baptist by the 17th century, and it is still there today. Beyond its physical presence, the shroud has inspired innumerable works of art, literature, and theological contemplation, adding to its historical significance. Scholars and artists have struggled with its appearance, adding to its religious cultural significance by frequently depicting the shroud's impression of Christ's face in their works. A pattern of reverence and distrust developed as the story of the shroud progressed. A lot of people wanted to be sure it was real, and as modern science came along, new ways to find out were accessible. But up until this point, scholars had failed to find conclusive evidence of the shroud's provenance. The narrative surrounding the shroud goes beyond a mere piece of linen. It delves into the depths to which humanity descends in its pursuit of the holy and its connection to its spiritual past. Initial observations. A groundbreaking finding. When it was discovered in the late 1800s, the Shroud of Turin was considered more than just a relic. It was a blank slate full of secrets. The year 1898 marked a turning point when the shroud was authorized to be photographed by Italian photographer Secondo Pia. Impressively, the negative revealed a clear image of a man's face, arms crossed, when he processed the film. There was a striking similarity between this picture and classic images of Jesus Christ. What Pia found had far-reaching consequences. Questions over the authenticity and provenance of the shroud were prompted by the first detailed view of its image. Scholars and scientists were compelled to delve more into the shroud's qualities after Pia's images sparked interest in it. People started talking about the real Jesus and what happened during his crucifixion as the shroud took on a life of its own as they stared at the powerful image. Consistent with biblical accounts of Jesus' agony, the photos showed a face marked by pain. Subtle visual features hinted at a man who had suffered tremendously and given his life for his cause. This idea struck a chord with Christians and contributed to their conviction that the shroud was more than just an artifact. It was a potent symbol of Christ's suffering. The notion that this linen would explain Jesus' bodily appearance on earth enchanted people all over the globe. On the other hand, doubts surfaced in tandem with excitement. As doubts over the shroud's veracity arose, numerous scientific inquiries aimed at establishing if the cloth claimed to be Jesus' burial shroud was, in fact, his actual burial cloth or a complex fabrication. The story of the shroud grew more intricate as additional information came to light, weaving together elements of history, religion, and science. Investigating scientific claims, the pursuit of reality. Eventually, in the late 1970s, the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or Sturp, was established in response to the growing interest in the shroud among scientists during the 20th century. An extensive analysis of the shroud was to be carried out by this group of experts utilizing state-of-the-art equipment. Determining the shroud's authenticity and solving the riddle of the image it carried were their primary objectives. Infrared reflectance photography, thermography, and chemical analyses were among the studies carried out by Sturp. Their research was revolutionary. Experts determined that the depiction on the shroud did not originate from a painting or any other recognized artistic medium. Rather, it seemed like a real footprint from a human body, complete with crucifixion scars and bloodstains. The dispute over the shroud continued even after the results were compelling. The fabric was supposedly carbon dated to the Middle Ages, between 1260 and 1390 AD in the late 1980s by 3 different labs in the United States: Arizona, Oxford, and Zurich. Believers were outraged by these results because they said the testing ignored important details, including the possibility of contamination and the shroud's restoration history. Carbon dating has reignited interest in the shroud, with scientists and religious leaders calling for additional investigations to prove or disprove the allegations. Because of these contradictory findings, the shroud continued to spark heated controversy. Was it a genuine artifact from the time of Christ, or was it a fake from the Middle Ages? Although the reality remained evaded, the questions persisted. Recent advancements in imaging technologies. Recent developments in imaging technology have revitalized research into the Turin shroud. Scientists have started to examine the shroud in unprecedented depth with the introduction of advanced X-ray imaging and 3D scanning technology. Researchers can now see the image's distinct qualities and the fabric's several layers thanks to these technological advancements. The use of wide-angle X-ray scattering by an Italian research team was one of the most important breakthroughs. The method allowed for an extremely accurate analysis of the linen fiber's structural integrity, which in turn allowed for the determination of their age. Previous carbon dating results have cast doubt on the authenticity of the shroud, but their findings revealed that it could date back to the time of Jesus. Furthermore, the weak picture of the figure on the shroud was studied by specialists using modern imaging techniques. They discovered hitherto unseen information by analyzing the details and increasing the contrast. There was no artistic modification involved. The distinctive features of the image and the complex patterns of the cloth proved that it was an authentic impression of a crucified person. New research possibilities have been opened up, and interest in the shroud has been revived as a result of these achievements. Unveiling the image's actual nature and historical context is becoming a more realistic prospect as researchers delve further into the shroud's secrets. The role of artificial intelligence in the redemption of the Christ face. An important point of contact between technology and faith is the impact of artificial intelligence on the reconstruction of historical characters, especially Christ, which has revolutionized several sectors. A lot of people think the Shroud of Turin is the burial linen of Jesus Christ. And because of new developments in artificial intelligence image processing, scientists can make quite accurate visual representations of it. These computer-generated visuals do more than just captivate. They also question long-held assumptions about who Christ is and provide a fresh perspective for Christians to examine their faith. These reconstructions have ramifications that go beyond just creative expression. Images created by artificial intelligence help Christians connect with their faith on a deeper level by making Christ more tangible. Christ depictions throughout history have been highly subjective, reflecting more the cultural milieu of the artist than any real historical record. However, the latest photos taken from the shroud try to show a figure that represents Jesus' humanity and suffering, appealing to people who want a closer relationship with their religion. This concrete image evokes a feeling, which in turn causes Christians to consider the value of Christ's death and their core beliefs. Rich discussions concerning the historical Jesus and belief itself are sparked by these AI-generated images as they circulate in religious communities and online platforms. Many people, including Christians, academics, and theologians, are trying to figure out who Christ is. Would we come away from this new depiction of Jesus with a different impression of him? Or would we come away with a better grasp of his character? Belief is an ever-changing experience. This continuing conversation inspires people to look for ways faith, art, and technology interact. Artificial intelligence developments also highlight how contemporary resources might unite religious and scientific perspectives. Using algorithms that can rebuild images based on multiple data points taken from the cloth, researchers are harnessing AI to analyze the shroud in unprecedented ways. Researchers are able to get further into the meaning of religious artifacts thanks to this merging of modern technology with age-old practices. Being able to see Christ's face so clearly makes people look more closely at other holy artifacts, which in turn makes them reconsider the spiritual and historical significance of those artifacts. Having said that, there will be difficulties on this path. Important concerns regarding interpretation and representation are brought up by the depiction of Jesus via the prism of contemporary technology. How can we make sense of the differences between the traditional portrayals of Christ found on the shroud and the more commonplace pictures of Christ that are typically marked by cultural symbolism and Eurocentric traits? Those who have grown accustomed to particular depictions may feel uneasy about this discrepancy. It is crucial for people to manage these intricacies as the discourse progresses, acknowledging that faith is very personal and can be influenced by many things. Additionally, conversations around authenticity and the use of technology and spirituality might arise from the incorporation of technology into religious settings. While some may think that using AI to recreate Christ's visage takes away from the mystique of faith, others may view it as a means to a more meaningful spiritual experience. This difference of opinion emphasizes the need for conversation within religious communities, creating a space where many viewpoints can coexist and lead to a deeper comprehension of faith. The consequences of artificial intelligence-created depictions of Christ go much beyond their representational value. In a society where science and technology are having an ever-increasing impact, they urge believers to actively participate in their faith. Before it became a focal point for investigating how spirituality and modernity mix, the Shroud of Turin was mainly seen as a relic. Reflecting on one's views and appreciating the richness and complexity of one's faith journey are encouraged as individuals navigate this developing environment. The shroud's religious and cultural importance. Beyond its material value, the Shroud of Turin symbolizes an indelible bond to the Christian religion and its past. The shroud represents the three essential doctrines of Christianity: sacrifice, redemption, and resurrection, and is thus a physical connection to Jesus Christ for many Christians. Inspiring devotion, introspection, and a deeper understanding of faith, its relevance goes beyond simply historical interest. For many years, believers have gathered around the shroud to worship it. Millions of people have made the pilgrimage to Turin in search of the relic that is said to have touched the body of Christ. The presence of the shroud in the Catholic Church has brought believers closer together as it represents the common experience of Christ's suffering and victory over death. Public displays of sacred artifacts like the shroud attract large audiences and extensive media coverage, further solidifying its status as an enduring emblem of religious belief. The arts also reflect the cultural influence of the shroud. Artists have long been moved by the picture on the shroud, using it as a jumping-off point for works of literature, sculpture, and art. Cultural narratives surrounding Christ and his legacy are shaped by this continual connection with the shroud in artistic expression. The fabric takes on a life of its own, becoming a blank slate against which the redemptive narrative might be recounted. but many still doubt the shroud's veracity and wonder where it came from and what it means. The significance of historical evidence in influencing belief has been brought to light by the controversies concerning its legitimacy. Many find comfort in the current scientific discoveries, which give them confidence that their faith is based on something real. Could the new evidence change the story of the shroud and prove it is a real artifact from the time of Christ? Recent scientific discoveries and what they mean. Recent discoveries have strengthened the argument for the Shroud of Turin's authenticity and cast doubt on earlier theories as scientific studies into the artifact progress. The qualities of the shroud and its possible connection to Jesus Christ have been greatly illuminated by recent research employing cutting-edge technology. These findings promote additional investigation into the shroud's origins and further solidify the conviction in its significance. Among the most innovative investigations was a 3D image study of the shroud's surface. Scientists used laser scanning to make a topographical map of the fabric, which showed all the tiny features of the weave and texture. According to this research, the shroud fits the profile of burial veils from the 1st century, lending credence to its historical significance. Researchers have also found convincing proof in the bloodstains seen on the shroud. According to biochemical examinations performed by experts, the stains matched those of human blood, suggesting that the person encased in the fabric had endured damage typical of crucifixion. These discoveries not only strengthen the link between the shroud and Jesus, but they also force skeptics to reevaluate their stance. Even if there is a lot of proof that the shroud is real, people still have doubts. While some scholars acknowledge the shroud's authenticity as a relic, they contend that it fails to provide conclusive evidence of Christ's resurrection. This never-ending discussion brings attention to the conflict between religious belief and scientific fact, compelling believers to examine their views in light of scientific investigation. What is the shroud's place in modern Christian belief, and how millions of people's faith is affected by its possible reality? How modern Christians view the shroud. For centuries, Christians have looked to the Shroud of Turin as a symbol of Jesus Christ's death on the cross and subsequent resurrection. A reassessment of its place in modern Christianity has resulted from the renewed interest it has received from believers in light of recent scientific discoveries. Many people look to the shroud as a powerful representation of faith because it encapsulates the enigma and wonder of Christ's resurrection. Christians all throughout the globe have found new hope and inspiration in the ongoing controversy surrounding the shroud's legitimacy. For Christians, the possibility that the shroud is an authentic relic of Christ strengthens their faith and gives concrete proof of God's existence. As a result, many people are curious about the shroud and want to know more about its background and importance. Not only has the shroud affected individual believers, but it has also had an effect on the Christian community at large. Several groups and churches use the shroud as a visual aid to teach about the events surrounding the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ. As a result, Christians are delving more deeply into their faith and understanding the New Testament in light of its historical background. Some have argued that the shroud's relevance should not be based only on its historical legitimacy, and the authenticity of the artifact is still up for debate. Rather, they stress the need of trusting in what cannot be seen and the idea that spiritual truth is greater than empirical facts. True faith, according to this view, is not based on material possessions, but on a personal relationship with God. It prompts Christians to consider the heart of their faith, the shroud's legacy and its projection into the future. The future holds both mystery and potential for the Shroud of Turin. As we gaze into the future, it is believed that further information will be revealed about this intriguing artifact as a result of continuing investigation and technological developments. The shroud has become more than just a physical object. It is a beacon of hope and faith for people all around the globe. Further scientific examination of the shroud is expected to reveal further details, which could further establish its historical significance as an authentic artifact linked to Christ. Additional levels of meaning inside the shroud may be discovered as researchers investigate new approaches and technology. People have always wanted to know more about the world and how religion works, and this hunger for information is a reflection of that. Generations of believers to come will surely be shaped by the Shroud's legacy. The events surrounding Christ's life and death are likely to reawaken attention as word of its importance spreads. This has the potential to shed light on the biblical story and how these events now apply to our modern world. Faith, history, and their intertwined significance are all brought to light by the Shroud. Additionally, the Shroud may encourage communication between religious and scientific communities. Novel understandings of the meeting point of faith and facts will develop as academics and religious leaders maintain their dialogue. By fostering mutual understanding and acceptance, this conversation has the potential to inspire believers to wholeheartedly embrace both their faith and the progress made by science. The Shroud in contemporary culture. A tidal wave of cultural reactions has been held out in response to the Shroud of Turin's resurgence, touching on many domains of literature, art, and religion. It is becoming more and more clear that the Shroud has had an effect on modern culture as both believers and academics investigate its background and relevance. Various creatives and religious figures have found meaning in the Shroud and have used it to convey their thoughts on religion and humanity. Many artistic endeavors have attempted to depict the Shroud in an attempt to do it justice. Themes of death, resurrection, and salvation found in the Shroud have inspired works of art in a variety of media. These creative works call attention to the Shroud's importance and prompt contemplation of the picture of Christ's deeper meanings. Modern media has also featured depictions of the Shroud, including documentaries and films that delve into its background and the significance of its authenticity. The Shroud has had a significant impact on literature as well, with writers exploring its spiritual importance and historical background. Many books have been written about the Shroud, delving into its history, the scientific studies conducted on it, and how it has affected people's faith. These books help readers comprehend this incredible artifact better. Inviting readers to ponder on the meaning of spirituality in the modern world, these literary works frequently explore the tension between faith and doubt. On top of that, the Shroud has grown in significance to communities and spiritual leaders. The Shroud has become an integral part of religious instruction in many faiths, serving as a visual aid for thought and introspection. To help people grow closer to the gospel of Christ, retreats and seminars focused on the Shroud invite them to consider their religion in the context of the artifact's historical importance. The Shroud connects the past with the present, allowing believers to experience their religion in fresh and profound ways. How has the Shroud affected Christian, non-Christian interaction, and what it means for interfaith dialogue more generally? The effects of the Shroud on interfaith conversations. Despite its strong Christian associations, the Shroud of Turin has provoked thought and discussion among people of many religions. Scholars and believers alike are delving deeper into the Shroud's meaning, which is opening up dialogues across faiths regarding the historical Jesus, the nature of believing, and the commonalities that unite various faiths. A lot of people who don't believe in Christianity see the Shroud as a chance to learn about Jesus and how his story is relevant even outside of Christianity. People from all walks of life are encouraged to reflect on the profound influence of Jesus' teachings on mankind by reading the story of the Shroud and its possible relationship to Christ. A deeper examination of spirituality across faiths is made possible by this shared interest, which cultivates a sense of understanding and respect. A way to overcome common misunderstandings and promote tolerance is through interfaith discourse surrounding the Shroud. One way people might learn about one another's values and ideas is via conversations about the Shroud and the many theories put out about it. There is a greater chance of understanding and compassion fostered by this sharing of ideas, which helps to close the gaps that frequently exist among religious groups. Furthermore, debates regarding the historical person of Jesus are impacted by the Shroud's legitimacy. The Shroud's examination by researchers of different faiths has sparked important discussions regarding the reliability of historical records, the authenticity of religious writings, and the relationship between faith and reason. By working together, we can learn more about Jesus' life and how his teachings changed the world. What is the shroud's impact on Christian art's development and the ways in which its image has shaped depictions of Christ across time? Christian art and the shroud. Many Christian works of art owe a debt of gratitude to the Shroud of Turin for the inspiration it provided for depictions of Jesus Christ. Artists have long looked to the shroud for ideas, drawing strength from its image to portray Christ in compelling ways that touch the hearts of believers. Christian iconography features depictions of the shroud in various media, including paintings and sculptures. Its depiction of a crucified Christ is one of the most striking features of the shroud's impact. Innumerable artists have sought to portray the profound emotional impact of Jesus' crucifixion by depicting his body as a symbol of suffering and sacrifice. By centering on pain, we hope to draw attention to the tremendous sacrifices made for the sake of humanity and encourage spectators to consider their own spiritual paths. Believers are encouraged to embrace their faith in times of adversity by the shroud's depiction of Christ, which has become a symbol of hope and salvation. Contemporary artists have also been inspired by the shroud to explore new mediums and interpretations of Christ in addition to traditional portrayals. Artists of the modern day have taken inspiration from the images on the shroud, examining its meaning in relation to issues of pain, individuality, and religion. The art that has developed around the shroud is a testament to its enduring significance and its power to motivate perseverance in the face of hardship. The impact of the shroud goes well beyond specific artworks as well. It has guided the depiction of Jesus in many cultural contexts and affected the larger tale of Christian art history. Artists find solace in the shroud as they delve into the intricate web of Christian tradition, which anchors their creative pursuits in the rich tapestry of faith and depiction. What is the shroud's impact on modern religious activities, and how has it changed spiritual rituals? How modern faith makes use of the shroud. In the modern age, the Shroud of Turin has become an integral part of Christian faith rituals. Because of it, religious festivals have evolved, providing Christians with a more personal link to the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Worship, contemplation, and devotion have all found a home at the shroud as its fame has spread. Incorporating the shroud into their liturgical procedures, numerous churches and religious organizations have adopted it. As they get ready to celebrate Christ's resurrection, churches traditionally contemplate on the shroud's importance during Lent and Holy Week. Observances and ceremonies revolving around the shroud provide opportunities for Christians to reflect on the meaning of Jesus' death on the cross, his atonement, and the promise of eternal life. Pilgrimages and retreats are spiritual events that people attend in the hopes of seeing the shroud. Traveling to Turin on a pilgrimage allows Christians to see the shroud in person, which strengthens their faith and brings them closer together. Inspiring introspection and growth, these excursions frequently prompt people to consider their own spiritual paths. Additionally, the shroud is an effective means of outreach and evangelization. People who believe in the shroud often tell people its story, bringing up its spiritual and historical importance to talk about religion. Scientific findings about the shroud and its authenticity have created a captivating story that appeals to both believers and skeptics, encouraging them to discuss and learn more about the artifact. We will pause to consider the major ideas connected to the shroud and its influence on religion, science, and society as we wrap up our investigation. The effect of the shroud. As a symbol of mankind's never-ending search for knowledge of the divine, the Turin shroud is an enduring testimony. Faith, honesty, and the connection between science and spirituality have all been topics of conversation around it throughout history, and it continues to interest people today. The influence of the shroud goes well beyond its tangible form, as we consider the ideas presented in this script. The intricate relationship between belief and evidence has been shed light on by the continuing inquiries of the shroud's legitimacy. Although the shroud does not provide conclusive evidence of Christ's resurrection, it has certainly ignited deep discussions regarding religion, history, and believing itself. There has been a greater understanding of the spiritual journey as a result of the scientific discoveries surrounding the shroud, which have prompted believers to wrestle with their religion in a modern context. Not to mention the cultural importance of the shroud, it has changed the way people practice their faith today, encouraged discussion between faiths, and sparked creative expression. People of all faiths and no faith can find strength in the shroud's narrative, which highlights the universal principles that bind us all. The mystery and inspiration surrounding the Shroud of Turin will certainly persist in the years to come. Its enduring symbolism of salvation and hope keeps people coming back to it, seeking answers to questions about God and their religion. Whether it is an artifact from another time or an inspiration for contemporary faith, the shroud is a powerful symbol of the power of religion to change lives. The Shroud of Turin remains an extraordinary artifact that intertwines faith, history, and science. As new discoveries continue to emerge, its significance only grows, offering believers around the world a tangible connection to the story of Jesus Christ. What are your thoughts on the shroud? Do you believe it holds genuine evidence of Christ's existence? Share your opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more enlightening explorations of faith and history. Thank you for watching.